Hello everyone, welcome back. So in our last video, we have looked into integration navigations, OIC navigations. So now let us look into integration styles. So that means whenever we receive a requirement, we need to decide whether it is a scheduled integration or app-driven integration. And app-driven means, ad hoc integration. We can trigger it from the third-party system or from the, REST clients or SOAP clients. And we have, multiple integration styles. So let us look into that. Integrations, and then again, we need to click on integrations. So when you want to create an integration, so we need to come to this, integrations page, and then we need to click on the create button. And, initial page only, it is asking us to select the integration style. So we have 6 integration styles. One is app-driven orchestration, and scheduled orchestration, file transfer, basic routing, publish to OIC, subscribe to OIC. So to decide what is the integration style that we need to pick, first we need to understand what all these integration styles and how we use them. Okay, but one thing I can guarantee you is we mainly use for, if you are building 100 integrations, for 99 integrations, you are going to use app-driven integration or a scheduled integration. These two are very popular, and we mostly work on these two only. But I'll just tell you what all these are. Okay, so let us start with the app-driven orchestration. Okay, so app-driven orchestration means, so let's say you are working on the requirement is to build an integration, event-based integration. That means, so in Fusion, whenever the order is updated or whenever the order is created, they want to trigger the integration, and immediately we need to process that. So in that case, we need to go with the app-driven orchestration, because we can build integrations like, business event integrations using app-driven orchestration, not by the schedule integration, not by any other integration style. So when you want to build business event integration, you need to go with the app-driven orchestration. Business event means whenever, some update or create happened in the application, immediately we need to process. Real-time integration, we can say. And you want to expose your integration as a REST service so that others can trigger your integration. Or you want to expose your integration as a SOAP service. So in this type of cases also, we need to go with the app-driven orchestration, so that other third-party systems or third-party applications or any other integrations can trigger our app-driven orchestration integration. And the other case is, if you want to trigger your integration from one of the OIC internal integration, you have 2 or 3 integrations developed and you want to trigger this integration from that integration, already developed integration. So in that case also, we go for app-driven orchestration. Okay, so this is clear. And now, what is scheduled orchestration? So with the name only, we can understand that if you want to schedule an integration, daily you want to trigger this, or every 1 hour, or every 5 minutes or 10 minutes, based on the frequency, you want to trigger this integration or you want to run this integration. So in that case, we go for scheduled orchestration. That means, sometimes some third-party system plays files into SFTP file every day morning, and you need to trigger your integration every day morning to pick that file and process it to the Fusion or any, third-party application. So in that case, the requirement is to schedule it. So when you want to trigger integration with some frequency, then we need to go for the scheduled orchestration. Okay. And then file transfer. File transfer, with the name itself, we can see that, to send files from one server to another server, we use file transfer. But this requirement we can fulfill using app-driven orchestration or a scheduled orchestration. With this integration, if we using these integration styles also, we can transfer the file from one server to another. But why this? So in this file transfer, it is just to transfer the file. We cannot do any other, manipulations or data enrichments. Just it can take a file from server and send it to another server. When you have a straightforward requirement like this, just go for the file transfers. When you want to do some data changes or manipulations in the data, or you want to apply any logic to the data, then better to go with app-driven orchestration or scheduled orchestration. In that case, file transfer won't work. Just file server to server. If you want to transfer, then go with the file transfer. So this is clear. Basic routing. So basic routing means this is like app-driven orchestration, but very simple integration with a minimal changes. So let's say you want to read the data from source system and you want to send that to target system with a single mapper. Just you are converting them, how target system is going to accept. Just you will add a one mapper and just you want to send the data. But you cannot add multiple logics like switch and all logics, and you want to do conditions and add data enrichments, or in the between, if you want to connect to any let's say in the middle you want to get some data from the third party application and we need to invoke the other service. So that all you cannot do in a basic routing. So straightforward integration you want to build just from target to source to target with a minimum changes. Then you can go for the basic routing. But mostly when we receive this type of requirement also, we go for app-driven orchestration or scheduled orchestration, because in future we may need to add some logics for the integration. So why to go for that? Instead of that, we can go for app-driven orchestration or scheduled orchestration. Okay, and the next, publish to OIC and subscribe to OIC. We have a concept called messaging queue. So I think, Apache, we have an Apache, messaging queue server, ActiveMQ. So how we use that? So let's say, I want to send some message to 3 or 4 people. So in that case, what I need to do? I need to send message to person A and person B and person C. But when you are using ActiveMQ, I'll just send message to that queue so that person A, B, C can read that message at a time. They all can receive same message. So in that case, I only sent message once, but they all are received. So that is one advantage with the messaging queue. And the second advantage is, when I'm sending a message to person A, if he is not available to receive the message, that is again, we are not sure that message is reached to person A, right? He is always ready to receive my message whenever I am sending. But when you are going with a messaging queue, you are sending message to messaging queue, not to the person. So in that case, you are just sending a message to messaging queue and you are forgetting about it. The persons who subscribe to that messaging queue, person A, B, C, they can receive message anytime because that message can be available till they receive. So let's say when I sent a message to messaging queue and person B, C got received, but C is not available. C server is down at that time. Later, 1 hour later or so, server is up and running. In that case, still the message is there in a messaging queue so that he can receive it. So once all subscribers receive that message, then the message got deleted from the messaging queue. So that is the advantage. I mean, with the messaging queue, we have a lot of topics like queues and topics, we should be able to understand them. But from this integration styles, published to OIC means OIC internally, I mean, OIC itself is providing a messaging queue. So here published to OIC means you can send message to messaging queue. Subscribe to OIC means you can receive a message. I mean, you can read a message from messaging queue. So when you want to build an integration in that concept, we need to go with publish to OIC and subscribe to OIC. Okay. So let's try one by one. I mean, I'll show you, how it will be look like. Okay. And then in the next video, we can go with the implementation. Okay. So I'm just selecting app driven orchestration, then select. So we need to go and provide a name, app driven demo. So here we need to provide a connection so that based on our requirement, let's say you want to configure business event, you need to configure Oracle Cloud Adapter. And if you want to, expose your integration as REST, then you need to go with a REST adapter. So you need to create a connection and you need to start working on your integration development. So this is how app driven integration starts, looks like without any implementation. So you need to start from here. Just you need to give a connection at the source point and then you can, keep on developing it. We can look into this in depth in the next video. So let us look into the scheduled orchestration, how it looks. Okay, I just selected scheduled orchestration. See here, scheduled orchestration integration. So in our app driven orchestration integration, at initial place, it was asking for the connection to configure, but here you can see directly, you can see the schedule. So here we can configure the schedule when you want to trigger and all, and you can also configure the schedule parameters. And from next, you can start building an integration. So this is how it looks like without, you implement anything. So let us look into the next integration style, file transfer. So file transfers integration. So here, see, you can see same like a schedule integration here. So here what we can do, this is not, when we say file transfer, it needs to pick file from any server. For that, I mean, it is not a ad hoc run or it is not a business event. Just we use this for the file transfer. So in that case, that should be scheduled. Or we can, even the schedule integration also we can trigger manually. So that is why you can see schedule in file transfer demo. Okay, so just this is how it looks like when you select file transfer, and same like other integration, you can start building your integration, but you cannot use all data enrichments. Just you can select file from the server, from the SFTP, and then send it to another server. Basic routing. This is also like app driven orchestration integration, but in this integration you can still see basic let me give like this, then create. See here, drag and drop a trigger and drag and drop a invoke. You cannot use any other connections in between. So that is why I said you cannot do data enrichments. This is direct integration from source to target. And when you drag and drop these two, it will just give us one mapper. We need to just map them, and then we are done. So that is basic routing integration, just basic integration. Okay. Publish to OIC. See, publish to OIC. What I said, we can send message to OIC messaging queue, means messaging service. So here target is already generated because this is already there. You no need to configure anything separately. So here you can select a trigger, and then you can send a message to OIC service, messaging service. So that is what it is. You can use this as an active MQ, and target is already there. You no need to configure anything. When you have to use active MQ, you need to download and install that active MQ server, and you need to do all those stuff, and you need to configure it. But here OIC is inbuilt. It is inbuilt server, and you no need to do anything. You no need to start anything. It is already there, and you can see when you select publish to OIC, you can see the target is OIC. IC messaging service. So only we need to worry about the source. Okay. Subscribe to OIC. So when you go with the subscribe to OIC, yeah. So what happen is when you have a publisher configured, I just created one publisher, but that is not correctly configured, right? So when you have a publisher configured correctly, then only you can create a subscriber. So that is why it is saying you currently have no publisher integration in your design time environment. Create or import a publisher. A publisher integration has IC messaging service as its invoke. Okay, so that will send them simple. So that publish to OIC integration will send message to messaging queue, and this subscribe to OIC will take the message from the messaging queue. So that is what the goal is. Okay. So thank you guys. So in the next video, let us look into, let us start building a basic integration, and in that integration, I will show you what all components that we can use. We have a switch while variables we can create, we can write loops, lot of things we can do. So I'll just explain one by one. So in the next integration, we'll be creating one app driven orchestration integration, and also we'll be discussing about the actions in OIC. Thank you and good luck.